Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, February 14th, 2019. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. What you'll notice here is that after the rally a couple of days back here, we've had two narrow days here. One narrow session the previous session, and now we've had narrow overnight and pre-market trading inside the range. It's been basically a very narrow two-day affair here after the very bullish previous session here, and now holding above these highs. It's going to be very interesting. Does price pull back? Are we holding in this zone and then pull back toward previous month's close into the trigger zone again, as has been the case this entire time? Or does price stay above 2740 and extend the gains to the upside? At the moment, anytime you typically see this type of rotation to new highs, there tends to be a counter trend pullback of some magnitude. So any failure to hold 2740 could open up a pullback as deep as 2700, maybe as shallow as 2710, the previous month's close, and that could be another buying opportunity for another rotation higher into 2800 to 2810. As we mentioned before, this market continues to trend higher after pushing above 2600 toward 2800, and you likely see a continuation toward that zone until proven otherwise. In the meantime, you can still see medium-term or near-term pullbacks ahead of that. Eventually, once we get to this zone, or should we get here, there may be a wider pullback that brings us back toward 2600 for a key test. But right now, still trending up. Keep an eye on 2740. Any failure there could open up a pullback. Now, taking a look here at the NQ, you'll notice very similar price action. Again, still trending up. The two-day range has been very narrow here. After this rally day here on Tuesday, we've had two narrow days here to the side. 7K, important near-term level. Any failure to hold that level could open up a little bit more of a pullback. Again, the uptrending market here would suggest that bulls would defend that pullback for a continuation. Based on the structure here that we've been looking at, again, we're looking at a move and a continuation towards 71 to 7200. After pushing back above the 64-65 zone, the expectation was we continue higher towards 71, 72, and at that point, maybe perhaps again we pull back some degree towards 6500, which would need to be defended by bulls to keep this thing bid. So that's kind of the framework right now. The near-term level to watch is going to be 7K. Any failure to hold that level could open up a little bit of a pullback here within the current uptrend. Taking a look at crude oil. Right now, crude oil is up exactly 1% on the day. This is another one that continues to show minor weakness here at the previous month's close, but at the same time continues to print higher highs and higher lows day over day over the last 4 sessions. So this continues to remain an uptrend right now, but clearly bears are trying to form a lower high or keep this area bid, or offered rather, for a shot at returning back down. But at the end of the day, this market has been going sideways around 53s. Ever since this thing pushed up, it's been sideways around 53s, and we've formed a very narrow range here that hasn't seen expansion just yet. We could continue to see chop back and forth within this range before major breakout type of action occurs. So overall, the big levels here, 49, big level up here, 55, and we continue to remain inside that range, just like we talked about before. Eventually, we'll either break out through 55s or we'll return back to 49s for a bounce. And so right now, we're still kind of in that fuzzy zone right now where we're just chopping back and forth with an upward bias in the near term. So again, if a larger rejection occurs or a lower high forms, 49 could be a very clear target. But until then, right now, still kind of quietly pushing higher. Here's a look at gold. Over here, gold had a failed breakout yesterday. We had a solid 60-minute rejection here, or 60-minute chart rejection that rallied it back up. Price attempted to push through the 1320s and rally, and instead was met with rejection and resistance. Price turned around and closed lower by the end of the day. Very solid breakdown, and now again we are breaking through lows here and pushing back up. So again, This has been a very narrow range, and we're starting to see a little bit of breakout in both directions. First to the upside that failed, and now to the downside, which is showing initial signs of rejection in the 15 and 60-minute charts. Again, 1300 is the big level to watch. We could drop as deep as 1300 and be a great buying opportunity for a continuation toward 1360. Any failure to hold 1300 would open up a return back toward 1275. So 1300 is the key level. If there's any rejection down here, that would be a spot to watch for a bounce coming up. Again, we have a very narrow range here, and eventually we start to get that breakout. It's starting to try that now. Recently, the breakouts have been down, followed by a rally. The breakouts have been down, followed by a rally. These narrow breakouts down, followed by a rally. So right now, we're seeing some of that play out. We'll see if footing can be found off 1300 that can rise this thing or rally it into 1350 to 1360. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room.